science. He has written three books on philosophy, education, and parallels of ancient cultures, insight, and modern scientific discoveries. He has given lectures in more than 10 nations across the globe, including USA, UK, Japan, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Middle East, and Mauritius. He played a prominent role in Sabrimala temple case. He welcomed the entry of all believers to Sabrimala temple, irrespective of religion. He also supported the priesthood for all beyond caste. He, along with Tushar Velapalli, uh, demanded an anti-forced conversion law in Kerala. Uh, Mr. Iswar is public policy expert and has featured in BBC, CNN, the New York Times, and has a part of three Guinness World Records. Now, without taking much time, we all welcome you, sir, and it's my pleasure to invite to enlighten us on the topic why temples need to be taken away from government control and how. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Gyaneshwari, for that kind introduction. And thank you, Think India. I believe an initiative like Think India will inspire our nation, our youngsters to be more rooted to our culture, our national ethos, be more patriotic at the same time, reach out to the entire world. And India has always been a Vishwaguru to the world. We were a world teacher, whether we start from the ancient Vedic seeds, whether our ancient temples, whether through Buddha, Bodhisattvas, or all the great legendary people who travel to our east, or to Vivekananda or modern day Mahatma Gandhis. We have always taught the world great things, and it is time that we learn many things in our land in a proper way. And I would like to start with a question. I really appreciate this entire organization and entire people. I thank you and for raising a very relevant topic. And I would also like to connect it to national ethos and nationalism too. I would like to start with a question because it is directly connected to temples. The British were ruling us for almost 190 to 200 years. How many British soldiers were there in India when Britain ruled us? This is a question that I would like to raise to you. You need not answer because if everyone is going to switch on the mic, it may be just consider in your mind what might be the total number of soldiers, British officers, everyone collectively, the British people in India, in the past 200 years. You will be surprised to know the maximum number of British soldiers, their families, officers, everyone included in India at the highest point of time is merely around 2 lakh people. Yeah, good answer. I saw great answers. Yes, this is the army, this is the officers, this is their family, this is their orderlies, everyone connected is hardly around 2 lakh Britishers. And we at that point of time, say around 1910 or 1920, had around 20 crore people. With 2 lakh British soldiers, they ruled our nation of 20 crore in proportion for almost 200 years. That means for every British soldier, there was at least around 1,000 Indians. The reason why they could rule us were they could mentally subjugate us. They could psychologically overpower us. They could weaken our structures of culture from inside so that we will always feel weak. We will always have some kind of lack of unity. You might have all studied that in school, saying divide and rule policy of the government. Divide and rule was a clever policy by British to weaken us from inside and to rule over us. Now, how is it connected to temples? That's also a very significant question. How is it connected to temples? I'll give you the Kerala examples with live evidence from history. 1812 was a critical year in Indian history, especially down south. By 1809, people like Veluthambi Dalava back in Kerala, who were great patriots, who were organizing, they were instrumental in organizing Hindus and Indians to a large scale of every religion and community, but they were centered on uniting the majority community Hindus. And they were effectively going from temple to temple and campaigning, saying that we are losing our culture, British are subjugating us, we should fight back. This person, Veluthambi Dalava, basically means the minister of Kerala or the person who was in Travancore at that point of time. A great patriot at that point, a great patriot from our history. So Veluthambi Dalava was going from temple to temple and organizing a great agitation against the British, the mighty British at that point of time. And by 1811, with the more powerful army, with their advanced technologies, the British could crush Veluthambi Dalava, and people along with him were either hanged or they were killed, and they were all defeated. So by 1812, British decided to change their strategy. Now, it's a very important aspect. Please listen to this carefully, because this is even right now done in various forms, but the core is simple. By 1812, a person called Munro, Colonel Munro, who was ruling in Travancore, said temples, Hindu temples have a lot of mismanagement. Hindu temples have a lot of corruption. Now government is going to take over the temples. This is the same excuse even in 2000s, 2005, 2010, 2017. Some of our governments are still giving. Hindu temples have a lot of misadministration issues, maladministration issues. So we are going to take over the temples. And when Regent Rani that was the ruler of Travancore at that point of time, or Kerala at that point of time, she was kind of weak. I know I wouldn't cast aspersion on any of our earlier rulers, but she was weak, to be honest, not because of gender, but because of the historical reasons. We had some of the great female queens, but this particular ruler was a bit weak. So Colonel Munro could assert himself politically and strategically, and he took over all the temples and created a kind of a temple board where all the temples came under the state government, or the state government of the British at that point of time. The real strategy of the British was not to let Hindus be united in a positive way so that there can be an agitation against them. So they wanted to divide Hindus in a very deep manner, strategic manner. Yes, we had issues of casteism. We had some divisions, but British cleverly added fuel to the fire, were rubbing salt into the wound, were cleverly widening us, not because of any other consideration, but because of their clever strategy of divide and rule, so that Hindu community will remain forever. Because temple is the center of our spiritual unity. Temple is the center of our social unity. Temple system is perhaps the oldest system of worship in the world. And without realizing the spiritual, socio-cultural significance, many of our generations have not understood the depth of it. This is one of the core reasons that we lost the control over temples. Now I'll give you an example of 2020. Many of you will be pained, surprised, and shocked to know this. Shabarimala has a revenue of 155 crores per year. Per year, Shabarimala gets a revenue, especially pre-COVID. You know, it will be revised because only some limitations are there. Shabarimala gets 155 crores. Shabarimala gives the state of Kerala roughly around 11,200 crores per year, because almost 4 to 4.5 crores of devotees come here every year. Please remember, Kerala's population is only 3.5. More than the entire population of Kerala, 4.5 crore people come to Shabarimala every year. And Shabarimala has billions and billions of rupees as assets, billions worth of other gold and other assets. And you will be surprised to know Kerala's Devasam board, which is ruled by the leftist. I don't have anything against politically anybody, but I'm simply stating a fact. This leftist Devasam board and government, they're taking money from Devasam board. They're taking money from Shabarimala account to argue against Shabarimala. Can you imagine this anywhere else in the world? Let it be a church, let it be a mosque, let it be a party office, let it be a corporate house, let it be anything under the sun. For example, if there is a case against me tomorrow, if there is a, God forbid, if there is a case against Think India tomorrow, will anybody be able to take money from your account to argue against you in court? And Shabarimala, the Devasam board was paying the advocate 4 to 5 lakh rupees per sitting and per hearing in Supreme Court. They were taking from Shabarimala to argue against Shabarimala. This is how our temples are under subjugation. And unfortunately, our Hindu community, our Samaj, doesn't give deeper thought into these dimensions. This is a weakness we have. See, please remember, whenever we raise a issue, it is easy to blame the other parties. It is easy to blame the other people from the other spectrum for this. But we have to introspect too. And you will be surprised to know, almost 10 to 11 years back, when Shabarimala had to create a website, I had to pay from my own hands, because the atheist Devasam board there said, why should Ayyappa need a website? or the deity there is Ayyappa. I said, sir, God doesn't need a website, but we devotees need a website so that we can understand things. We need water, we need facilities, we need room to stay there. It is not that God wants a website, room, water, or anything, but we will need. But the leftists, majorly Hindus too, another interesting factor. These leftists, 80% of who are from the Hindu community itself, because they are not properly Hinduized, they are not properly dharmic rooted, they are not properly rooted in the Hindu culture and civilization, who even has an issue with the word Hindu. They will never say the word Hindu. They will, they can say all the other words in the world, but they will never say the word Hindu. See, please remember, we are proud to have all the communities in the world. We are the land of Swami Vivekananda and Mahatma Gandhi, who were Vivekananda in effect taught the world the idea of a pluralism, idea of a communal harmony. When he went to the 1893 World Chicago, the Global Parliament of Religions, it was Vivekananda who pointed out, let us coexist. All the other religions, majority of people from all the other religions were claiming that their religion is superior. We are the only truth. We are the only way to God. And Vivekananda, quoted Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna, and our ancient culture, and pointed out this idea of Egam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti. That means truth is one, the God or the final truth, the reality is one, and we reach through different ways. It is an Indian contribution. This whole idea of pluralism and Indian contribution, and these people are teaching us that pluralism and calling us communal. That's a different thing. And you will be surprised to know people like me were branded communal for fighting for Ayyappa. The reason why we were fighting for Ayyappa, we were fighting for our right to believe. Now, coming to the core aspect, leaving apart God, let us leave apart. No, I'm a strong believer in God, but let us leave God apart and look at the socio-cultural, political ramifications of this. What they are doing is, in effect, weakening Hindu community from inside by cleverly having a hold over our temples. Now comes a very crucial aspect, even for management students, it will be very interesting. This is the difference between ownership and control. There is a huge difference between ownership and control. Suppose Yaneshwari has ₹1 crore in your account. It is in your name, your photo is there, your name is there, your address is there. But if, say, Aryan Dwivedi ji or Abhishek Yadav or Aman Singh or anybody else is controlling that money, deciding what to do with that money, where will you invest, how will you spend that money, what all will be bought with that money, what is the point of having that account? It is in your name, but somebody else is controlling. Same is the situation of Hindu temples. That means ownership is in the deity's name. Ownership technically is in the Hindu community's name. But what really happens? Somebody else is deciding what to do with that money. This is the crucial difference between ownership and control. Now I'll come to the real social ramifications with empirical data, with verifiable data from Kerala. And I took Kerala not because, and I am from the state of Kerala, but Kerala is an ideal place to study all the communities. See, I am one of the greatest pluralists you can see. I reach out to churches, I reach out to mosques, I take sessions in churches. I am a regular in Christian Muslim community programs. I have the greatest respect to all of them. I am really harmony with all of them. But what I am saying is something that we Hindus should definitely take care. See, I'm all for communal harmony, but at the same point of time, we Hindus have to immediately focus on this aspect. And Kerala is the right place to focus because Kerala has a population of 3.5 crores, out of which 27% belongs to our Muslim community. Almost 18.6 or around 20% belongs to Christian community. Almost 50 to 55% belongs to the Hindu community. Now, next is a statistic I am going to present, not by me, but by a police head or DGP of Kerala. He's not a Hindu, he's a Christian. His name is Dr. C.B. Matthews. He was the Information Commissioner of Kerala. He was not talking in a speech like this. Rather, he was presenting a doctorate paper in Mahatma Gandhi University. And I believe this is the statistic that every Hindu should read, learn, propagate, and create a card and put it in their home. He points out Kerala is a good example to take because Kerala is well educated. All the other social indexes are high. But he says Kerala tops India at least in 1, 2, or 3 places with the maximum number of suicides, with the maximum number of family breakdowns. After Punjab, the maximum number of alcoholism and drug abuse. The second or third maximum number of depression cases and maximum number of family breakdowns. Now, next is the more important aspect for Think India and all the people assembled. It is not regarding Kerala. Dr. C.B. Matthews points out, when I was studying this, I was perplexed, I was confused, and I was shocked when I found out that 80% of the suicides in Kerala happen in the 50% Hindu community. 90% of the family breakdowns happens in the 50% Hindu community. 83.7% of alcoholism and drug abuse happen in the 50% Hindu community. 78% of the depression happen in the 50% Hindu community. 82% of the geriatric issues or the old age issues happens in the Hindu community. See, this is there everywhere in India. But because there is not a comparative study with other communities, we are able to identify that these evils are disproportionately high in Hindus. So, for example, coming to Uttar Pradesh or Madhya Pradesh or any other place, this is equally prevalent. But the point is, just because other communities are not there, we are not able to map, study, and understand the situation. And Dr. C.B. Matthews says, what is the reason? Next comes the crucial reason. And I am quoting Dr. C.B. Matthews. Second, a Harvard University research back in 2016 and writings by Sukada Kumari, who is a very famous Hindu poet from Kerala. They say the core reason why suicides, alcoholism, drug abuse, family breakdown, geriatric issues or old age issues, depression happen in Hindu community because Hindus lack spiritual education. How? Now the question is how? Every week, our Christian or Muslim communities' children go to their Sunday school or their spiritual schools and spend 2 to 3 hours there. By the age of 18, they finish around 1,000 hours of spiritual education. You call it spiritual education, you call it exposure, you call it socialization, you call it social development, you call it interaction, you call it anything under the sun. But the point is, they are able to spend 1,000 hours of extracurricular, co-curricular, co-scholastic, value education, hearing, listening to stories, participating Christmas carol, going for a drama, whatever it is. This 1,000 hours of social exposure, spiritual exposure, develops their brain, develops their consciousness, grows them, grows their EQ, emotional quotient, grows their SQ, spiritual quotient. The Hindus hardly get 50 to 100 hours of spiritual education by the age of 18. First reason. One more important reason. Now I'll ask you another question. And I hope Ganeshwari alone can answer that question. Everyone knows the answer, but I'd just like to elicit that answer so that I can know. Every day, we can go to a church, mosque, or a temple according to our own, or Gurudwara, or synagogue, or vihara, whichever it is, according to our own belief. But which is that particular day our Christian community comes together in a week to pray together, to connect with each other, to have a better bonding, to discuss about new schools and colleges they want to start, to help their poor, which is that particular day Christian community comes together, Ganeshwari. You might have heard, you might have noted.
Sunday.
It's Sunday. Everyone knows, right? It's Sunday. It's Sunday that they come together, they discuss, they sort out issues, they solve debates. Which is that particular day our Muslim community comes together, talks to each other. They have something called Islamic banking, where they give interest-free loans to their own community members. That really developed into what is called an Islamic banking. Is that particular day the Muslim community comes together, talks to each other, helps each other, listens to speeches. Which is that particular day?
Friday.
Friday. See, that's the reason why our Supreme Court also cleverly and intelligently decided the Babri Masjid verdict would not be given on a Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. They were waiting for the Friday to get over so that they can give that verdict on Saturday, because the government will have almost 5 to 6 days to arrange for better things. Maybe some kind of hardliners are there in every community, and Muslim communities hardliner may be using this Friday prayer to ignite themselves. That's the reason why unusually our Supreme Court took a step to deliver the verdict on a Saturday. Now the next question is to us. Which is that particular day of a week we Hindus come together to pray, to sort out issues, Many of the temples and all are in court. We have issues like Jallikattu. We have issues like Shabarimala here. We have issues like Sheni Sheknipur there. We have issues, many issues. Maybe you have a different position, I have a different position. There is a space for consensus. But which is that particular day of the week? We Hindus come together to help our people who doesn't have a job, to give money, monetary help to a people with less interest or no interest. Which is that particular day we come together to solve, discuss issues. Which is that particular day where we come together and decide that we should save Ramasedu, which is the ancient most, one of the ancient most heritages of India. Which is that particular day we Hindus do come. We hardly have a day, we hardly have a time, we hardly have a space. See, we are 99% a great civilization, impeccable, absolutely wonderful. We are standing there for more than 5,000 years. But we have 1% area of improvement. I wouldn't even call it weakness. We have 1% area of improvement. And that area of improvement is this. Just like our Christian community has a Sunday morning, our Muslim community has a Friday afternoon, we Hindus need to have something like a Saturday evening so that there can be a socio-spiritual satsang. Please remember, we have different days for God. We have Devi for Friday, we have Devi, we have Friday, somebody Tuesday, Shani for Saturday, or Shani for the Shanishwara, or Thursday for Vishnu somewhere, or the Hanuman somewhere. These are all for our deities, our gods. Absolutely, yes, we should observe all that. But along with that, we need to have a day in a week and some time for ourselves, Hindu community, our Samaj, so that we can discuss on this. This is a mobile phone I'm using. When I was speaking to Sraj earlier morning, it was switched off because it was lacking charge. This is a mobile phone I will have to charge every day. Yesterday morning, I had a full charge in this mobile, but today morning, it got switched off. This mobile is something I have to charge every day to use. In the same way, we are those beings, those people who have to be charged once a week, every time, spiritually and socially. I repeat, just like a mobile phone has to be charged every day, a human being has to be charged spiritually, socially, every week. This is the finding of Harvard University 2016 research published in JAMA Psychiatry. They say going to a shrine, a place of worship, once a week. Please remember, this is not any religious, spiritual people saying. This is the scientists of Harvard University. After, if my memory is right, after 16 years of research in almost 80,000 people, coming to a conclusion, we need to have this kind of coming together every week. Then only we will be able to spiritually and socially connect. And I could almost go to 10 to 12 nations, speak about this idea. For example, to Malaysia, to Singapore, to the Hindus in US. I studied in London School of Economics, as Ganeshwari said, or I told Shrestha. So to the Hindu community there, to Sri Lanka many times. We have some temples in Sri Lanka. My grandfather was the priest of many temples in Sri Lanka. I at least could speak in, say, 50 to 100 places of Sri Lanka where I could point out the relevance of this idea. Similar ideas were told by many great Hindu thinkers. I don't belong to any party. I don't belong to any community organization either. I was never a part of Sangh. I was never going to RSS. But I have a greatest of respect to Pujaniya Sarsang Chalak Guruji Golwalkar and Dr. G. They were also pointing out the relevance of spending some time, some hours per week for community, for ourselves, and for godly understanding. You will be surprised to know that almost 2 weeks ago, Sri Lankan government, Mahindra Rajapakse, their premier, decided and exhorted, called on the Buddhists there. Buddhists are also dharmics. Buddha is also one of our deity or avatar or guru or prophet, whichever name we want to call it. So he said, we Buddhists should have once a week meeting so that we will be better connected, we will have better understanding, we will share knowledge in between. So why is this not happening? And in our temples, do you know what happens? When we tell this idea, all the leftists, all the pseudo-seculars will say, don't do it. See, this is not regarding politics. This is regarding spiritual upliftment. So, I don't know whether there is time to interact. If so, it would be great. And I would like to, is there time, Ganeshwari?
I have to ask the organizer,
Yeah,
please.
how much time do I
Continue,
have?
continue.
Yeah. So the reason why I'm saying, because I believe less in lecture mode and more in engaging mode. That's the reason why I would like to conclude my initial presentation to you with this. 5,000 plus years of civilization. We are one of the oldest, greatest, and still surviving civilizations. The Greeks, the Egyptians, the Romans, the Sumerians, who were all along with us, either perished or right now are not there in history. They have all been similarly in museums, in internet, Google pages, and nothing more. We are still a living civilization. Long before Athens, there was a Kashi, there were all the centers. We had our rivers, we had our civilization. We are still surviving because of an inner strength, a spiritual dimension, a noble adhyatmic or atmiya or spiritual kind of a culture and civilization. We have that great manifestation in ancient Tamil, Sanskrit, Vedic, Tantric branches. We have our own Vishwagurus with great people in the last century like Dayananda Saraswati, Rajaram Mohan Roy, Vivekananda, Mahatma Gandhi, down south, people like Sri Narayana Guru, Chattambi Swami, people from all castes and communities who came together to solve our issues. Remember, we are a Sanatana Sanskriti who need to revive ourselves continuously. That's our greatness. And the core point we have to focus is, just like our Christian community has a Sunday morning, our Muslim community has a Friday afternoon, we Hindus should have a weekly satsang any day of your choice. I'm only saying Saturday because more people, it will be convenient for more people as it is a holiday, people will be more relaxing. And ideally, there is something called Mangalarati or Deeparadhana or something like a puja in every temple. Usually that time is by around 6:30 to 7. Around 7 to 8, if we can have this satsang. And please remember, don't call speakers like me for this satsang. Please remember, what we need to have is 20-minute bhajan, 20-minute yoga, 20-minute Gita or Ramayana or Shiva Purana or Upanishad or Ishopanishad or anything. This 1 hour satsang will create better connectivity, bonding, solve issues, create a mutual helping Hindu ecosystem in our temples, convey and inspire that knowledge between us. And also, we need to take care of the fact that we need to have spiritual education for our children. And as many of these youngsters, I believe, will be youngsters, I would like to end with simply one thing. What is the greatest thing you can do for India and also for Hindu community and also for temples? If there is one thing, what is the most important thing that you can do for India, for Hindu community, for temples, and to yourselves too? The most important thing is the Pancha Mahavakya or the 5th Mahavakya that we should have. There are already 4 Mahavakyas, Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, Mahatma Brahma, Prajnanam Brahma. But along with that, the 5th Mahavakya is this word. Please remember this. That 5th Mahavakya is have pre-marital education. The most important thing you can do for Hindu community is go to pre-marital education before you marry, because disproportionately high marital breakdown and family breakdown is in Hindu community. Our Christian community has 3-day premarital education in their churches before going to marriage. Now, why am I saying this? How can you help Hindu community by doing this? Let me take the case of Kerala, which can be which can be projected to the entire India. Kerala, in the past 50 years, Hindu community came down by 10 percentage points. We were around 61 to 63% by 1961. Now we are hardly 50 to 54%. Even that statistics is not right. If we round it to 50%, our population percentage came down by almost 10% in half a century. Why is this happening? This is happening because our family breakdown rate is exceptionally high. When families are getting breakdown, kids are not coming. And the most important English word you can listen to in connection to Hindu community is replacement level fertility rate. That means in order for a community to survive, in order for a nation to survive, in order for a family to survive, a family needs 2.1 kids per family. This is called replacement level fertility rate. That 2.1 is a scientific statistic. That 0.1 percentage is the amount of those kids who may have early death, who may succumb to injuries, who may have accidents. Basically speaking, please Google this. Replacement level fertility rate is 2.1. And Hindu community's replacement level is dipping at an alarming rate because family breakdown, suicides, alcoholism, very late marriages. See, this is what happening. Like Modi ji brilliantly pointed out, I think the first prime minister in India to openly say that there is a demographic dividend. India's strength is our demographic dividend was perhaps Narendra Modi ji. And our demographic dividend is dipping because we lack replacement level fertility rate. And in places like Kerala, where the so-called leftist, so-called progressive, these are pseudo-progressive, pseudo-leftist people, but the pseudo-progressiveness is there. Our fertility rate is 1.2 or 1.3. Our Muslim community's fertility rate is 2.7. Please remember that is a normal manageable rate. 2 to 3 is a normal, healthy replacement level fertility rate. But the Hindu community have only 1.2. That means, I'm sorry to use a strong word, Japan is facing this now. I was in Japan pre-corona for almost 2 months discussing some Buddhist, being in Buddhist monasteries there. We have some very good connect there. So they are also very welcoming. They are proud of the land of India. See, Japan, if they are going at this rate, will vanish in 400 years. Japan has the highest, one of the highest suicide percentage. Japan's fertility rate is dipping. Their kids are getting very less. And you will be surprised, Japan recently started a ministry for loneliness. There is a minister for loneliness, just like UAE has a ministry for happiness. The Hindus need to have a ministry for family. We need to uphold this family system of ours. That doesn't mean we need to have overpopulation. That doesn't mean we need to have 10 kids per family. No. Overpopulation is a curse. Underpopulation is equally a curse. What we need is optimum population. I repeat, overpopulation is a curse. Underpopulation is equally a curse. What we need to have is optimum population. And who will teach these? Our temples should teach these. Who is preventing it? The atheists, the leftists, in the guise of progressivism. They said, let us not look into all this. You shouldn't think about all this. You should simply conduct festivals and nothing else. Festivals are great, but socio-spiritual education is greater. And let me conclude by saying this kind of deep, profound topics, I'm very happy and I'm very proud that an organization like Think India could think. This is a deep, fundamental issue at the very soul, at the very heart and core of Hindu community. We still have to get hold of our temples. There is money involved, social involved, spiritual involved. And just imagine, $22 billion is there in Sri Padmanabha Swami temple. If we can use 1% of that for the welfare of Hindu community, think about the changes that can be made. There is 155 crores in just 1 year revenue in Shabarimala, almost 10 to 12,000 crores of facilities. We still don't have enough. We means Hindus still don't have enough schools, colleges, hospitals, super specialty hospitals. Why? Because we are locked somewhere. Somebody else is controlling us. And I would like to conclude by saying, when British were ruling us, they also had this. They were controlling us, telling what to do. We also had our kings, but our kings were more or less puppets. Of course, there were great exceptions like Rani Lakshmi Bai or Tantiya Tope or great people. But many of our kings were simply dancing to the tunes of the Britishers. That's the reason why we lost freedom and we have to wage the independence to get back our freedom. In the same way, our temples are still under the control of far left, atheistic, anti-Hindu forces. We need to liberate them. This is almost similar to a second freedom movement where Hindu community should come together, create a very good strategy, not antagonize anyone, but be inclusive, not be negative towards anyone, but be positive. Because if we are going to be negative, we are going to spend our energy for that. Unnecessary time, energy, money will be spent for that negative. We need to have that crystal clear focus. For liberating our temples, we need to have a game plan, a timeline, a deadline, leadership, different community strategies. And please remember this point, and I'm ending. We Hindus may not have the same line. See, we are 100 crore, 1 billion people. So we may not have the same line, but we can all be in the same page. See, we can all be in the same page without having the same line. Somebody will take a stand a bit more strong. I will take a stand a bit more soft. Somebody will take a stand which is too strong and hard. I may take a stand which is slightly inclusive and reaching out. So be it. We can have different paragraphs. We can have different lines, but we need to be on the same page. And I would like to conclude by saying that organizations like Think India, very thinking, bright, young Indians like you, inspire that single page where we can be, and that single page will be written in the books of history, will be written in golden pages in history as a great movement for Hindus. We can liberate our temples and inspire socially and spiritually our coming Hindu generations. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would now take questions from the participants. They have posted in chat box. Aniket Chauhan says, it is very common for people in India, whenever we talk of temples, we are blamed for something wrong. Why is it made so? That people fear of talking of the actual culture and our historical belief. How do we stop it?
Very important question. Aniket, I forgot the name. Can you tell me the name again, please?
It's Aniket Chauhan.
Yeah, Aniket Chauhan, brilliant question. See, immediately when we speak about temple, culture, Hindu, suddenly you are being seen with a color. Suddenly you are branded something. Suddenly, you are saying that you are bad, you are anti-secular, or the favorite word of the Khan market, you are suddenly communal. See, this attitude happens. This is the wrong attitude we have to fight. Don't worry, all our forefathers fought this. All our forefathers, all our freedom struggle movements, all the great people, even earlier fought this. So it is a systematic, injected, anti-Hindu, pseudo-secular attitude. And let me be very honest and let me say without any shame or qualm. See, the entire secularism idea is wrong. There is nothing called positive secularism or negative secularism. Secularism itself is wrong. We are a pluralistic culture. See, that pluralism is natural to India. You will be knowing that the word secular was not there in Indian constitution. In the original Indian constitution, we never had the word secular. It was later injected. I think it was by 42nd Amendment in 1977. See, that is because we are naturally a pluralistic culture. We are naturally respect to Bhagavan Buddha. Even when Buddhists opposed us, we call him Bhagavan Buddha. Even when there were some Jains who were saying that this aspect is wrong, we said we will accept. That's our greatness. We will say Buddha is ours. We belong to Buddha. See, that's the greatness, whether it is Buddha, Jaina, or the great Sikh gurus. The great Sikh gurus who were strong in guarding Hindu and Indian culture to a great extent from very many invaders. So it happens. So we will have to fight. And how do we fight? We fight by inspiring right knowledge, true aspects of history, without antagonizing anybody. I'm telling this point again because many a times we end up in confrontation more often than with the Muslim community and people who support Muslim community. See, we are losing crucial energy, time, money, resources in creating an unnecessary fight. That's the reason why we need to positively focus. And I'll give you a small example of how I was positively focusing. Ganesh also is very strongly there in Maharashtra. So when it came to Kerala, suddenly we were branded communal, saying that these guys are trying to do Ganesh Olsava in Kerala because you are communal. I said Bala Gangadhara Tilak started this. Great legendary freedom fighter. Bala Gangadhara Tilak was behind this. I said Gandhiji is a Dramarajya. Vivekananda is universally acceptable. Vivekananda Swami said regarding the importance. And I asked them a question. There were some leftists who were saying we shouldn't conduct this. I said, I will do that provided you give me the answer to this question, which many of you can try to. You might have heard of a very important slogan called Ganapati Bappa Moria, Mangala Murte Moria in Ganesh Olsav. It is especially in Maharashtra and everywhere, the huge Ganesh Olsav, which is popularized more by Bollywood movies. Ganapati Bappa Moria, Mangala Murte Moria. So I asked this leftist guy who was the counselor who had to give us permission. I asked, please tell me who this Moria is, and I know we are ready to back down. So he was surprised to hear this. He said, no, I can easily find out. There is Google. There are great many people who I can search. I said, simply search and let me know. So, he went to the Google search mode. He went to and asked people. And Moria is somebody like Bala Gangadhara Tilak almost 500 or 600 years back. And Moria's philosophy is devotee and the deity. God and the devotee is same. We need to have unity. And this Moria Guzavi, he was the Ganapadeya sect saint who coordinated and organized the first Ganesh Utsavam almost 500 to 600 years ago. So he was Google searching, he was discussing to people. Next day morning, he came and told me, this is very interesting. See, okay, fine. If you don't have politics and all, you continue. See, the point is there is a Hindu inside a leftist. You have to win him back. There is a Hindu inside a secular. You have to win him back. A clear-cut example from the past. We were a land of a lot of atheistic Buddhism. I wouldn't say great Buddhism because I am also a student of Buddhism, but a far left Buddhists were there almost, say, 1200 years ago during the time of Shankaracharya. So, our temples, our rituals, many things were weakened during this very kind of Shunyavada school of Buddhism. And what did Shankaracharya do? Shankaracharya was from my state, Kerala. Shankaracharya went and established pidams or madhas all over India. He won back Buddhists and Jains to our fold. He philosophically enlightened them back to their mother dharma, the mother faith. And Shankara could reabsorb Buddhism. That's the reason why all the Buddhists came back to the fold. See, we respect Buddhism. We have great elements of Buddhism, but at the same point of time, we should win them back. These leftist, pseudo-secular, majority of the Ghan market people, they will all, if you can see, they will all be Hindus. Majority of them will be forward caste Hindus too. And look at the Maoists. A great percentage of Maoist leadership is Brahmins. See, the point is, they, because of the lack of spiritual education, lack of spiritual dharmic awareness has went there. We need to win them back positively. Yeah.
Second question is, why is it so that when almost all India can sense revival of jihadi terrorism and missionary terror in Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh, why do residents of these states seem to not take care at all?
Very important question. 2 or 3 aspects I would like to point out. Just one. Yeah, once. Let me just put this charging. Just give me a second here. Yeah. See, there are 2 or 3 aspects. One, Hindu community is otherwise also disorganized. We lack money. We lack control over temples. We lack authority. Kerala is 27% Muslim community, 20% Christian community, or 18.6, and almost 70 lakh votes are there for these leftists. That means 1 by 5 are leftists or CPM or communists. Vampandi log hai. So there are 2 or 3 aspects. See, there is a thin line between being a proud Hindu and having some kind of antipathy towards other communities. The very crucial aspect here is the choice of words. We need to be strongly against the Wahhabis, the Islamists, and point out that Islamism is a cancer. I think I was in Times Now or Republic saying this. Some of the Muslim community members made a huge hue and cry. No, I openly said, I know I always tell about Mahatma Gandhi, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, or Ayyappa is a god for us, or Wavar, his Muslim friend, but at the same point of time, Islamism is a cancer. Please let us differentiate Islam, Islamism. Islamism is a cancer. Wahhabi Islamist ideology is not only a cancer to India, but a cancer worldwide. In order to drive this point home, we should tell our Muslim community and the seculars one important point. In 1979, Holy Mecca was attacked by Islamists. Not by Hindus, not by Christians, not by atheists, not by anybody else, but Islamist army called Al-Ikhwan. 1979, please do Google. 99% of our Muslim brothers doesn't know this. Please let us educate them in a very softer way too. This is called the Mecca siege. This aspect is called the Mecca siege. The Grand Mosque or Masjid Al-Haram was conquered and was, they were captured and attacked by Al-Ikhwan, a Wahhabi army. And almost then you will be surprised to know the French army, the Pakistan army, everyone came together and fired bayonets and fired at the masjid to flush these extremists out. Almost 550 people were killed in this Mecca siege. So this Islamism is a danger to entire mankind. Second, when we use conversion, let us use the word conversionism. See, because mainstream Christian community has done a lot of good things for us. See, people even starting from, there were many great leaders of the national movement. People like Charles Freer Andrews. C.F. Andrews was an English priest, but he was instrumental in assisting Mahatma Gandhi and Hindu saints and promoting our Hindu saints across the world. So there are good people. So let us point out conversionism. That means Islamism is a danger, conversionism is a danger, and conversionism is not Christianity. Conversionism is a funded imperialistic project that wants to overpower and that wants to take control of a particular land. That really happened. They fund by conversion. They spend enormous billions of dollars for converting people. And why does our people get converted? Because we lack a Saturday satsang like Sunday for Christians and Friday for Muslims. We lack social support. We lack financial support and resource support. So this conversionism, this Islamism, one more, this Maoism. These three are the real threats because Mao, and these three operate in different ways. This Maoism physically uses our own Dalit brothers, our own Adivasi people against us and create a scaremongering between Indian state and our Adivasi people who belong to us, who were instrumental in supporting India, who Gandhiji and Ambedkar joined through Pune Pact and all the other aspects. But this Maoism, conversionism, Islamism wants to break India's unity and Hindu communities' deep structures so that they can thrive. So please remember, unless we differentiate between this, we will always end up in the secular versus communal debate. See, I am only against this because we are losing our valuable time, and it is very easy to convince a Hindu. Even if you tell something regarding so-called secular aspect, some of them will be confused. Some of them, will have a double-mindedness. And if we have double-minded, we will not be able to go with our project or vision or a darshana for India. So yes, Islamism is an issue. We should demarcate that as Wahhabi Islamism and fight against this. We are doing that in Kerala. Conversionism is there, that is funded conversion by imperialist forces of conversionism, extreme hardline Christianity, the hardline, not even good Pentecostal, the hardline Pentecostal belt in US and UK. So that is one. And then Maoism, which is partially supported by forces from China, which is partially supported, and their common enemy is the Hindu culture. The common enemy is the Indian state. Yes, we have to be very guarded against it.
So next question is, there are many anti-Hindu and anti-national elements amongst us who consider every religious action of Hindus as backward and wrong. How they should be countered? Like at times there are debates going on that girls wearing jeans can't enter the temples, and the very Sabrimala issue of the menstrual cycle, women could not enter. So in that context.
Very, very good question, Ganeshwari. 2 points. See, we live in an age of information. Information warfare is what the US military calls this. Information warfare. There are two aspects of communication. One is information warfare. Second is interpretation warfare. For example, Ganeshwari said regarding the periods and menstruation, women will not be able to enter in Shabarimala. This is a clever distortion by my good friend Barkhadar. I even got a mention in her book, saying Rahul Ishwar called me a fundamentalist feminist. See, this is a lie. Lakhs of women come to Shabarimala every year. Not 1, 2, or 3. Lakhs of women come to Shabarimala. You will be surprised, 2 years back, a group of German women above the age of 50 came there. There is only an age regulation represented as gender restriction. There is only see, the first person to be arrested for Shabarimala protest was my 84-year-old grandmother. The second person to be arrested was my 60-year-old mother. I was the third person to be arrested along with a person called Praya. So there is no female restriction there. There is only age regulation. But we don't know it. Our leftist media, when they raises it, we fall for it. Not only leftist media, my great friend and one of the best buddies I have, Arnab Goswami ji. Even Arnab Goswami ji, in the earlier phase, without knowing this, went for this. But Arnab Goswami ji made sure that our devotees' voices got heard, and it was only because of him that we could raise our voice in a meaningful way in the national media. We happily disagree with each other. We respectfully disagree with each other. And one more thing, whenever you go to unite Hindus, please remember this. We Hindus cannot be an absolute monolith. We cannot have an absolute same structure for everything. That's okay. That's our positive too. We need only harmonize. Our Hindu faith is a rainbow. If you are going to color it in one color, it will lose its charm. We need to have a rainbow, but we need to have a symphony. Symphony is the combination of very many notes in music. If it is single tone, it will be monotonous, and we will have varied tones. But we need to have an orchestrator, a music master, a maestro, a Beethoven who can harmonize this in a positive way. See, we will have Shaivites, we will have Shakteyas, we will have Vaishnavites, we will have Arya Samajis who say temple worship is not needed. We will have Brahma Samajis who will say only Vedic knowledge is important. We will have Tantrics down south who will say temple worship is more important. We will have some people who will say Sanskrit sloka seems important. We will have some people who say, see, this is there. This is inherent to us. This is a beautiful Hindu parivar where we have a great many divergence of opinion. But please remember, these differences, these divergences should be harmonized into one whole family and not become an object of hate between each other. You might have heard Ganeshwari of the word Ayyappa, especially in connection to Shabarimala. Ayyappa is a deity. The very meaning of the word Ayyappa is Ayya plus Appa. Ayya in ancient Tamil language, which is one of the oldest language in the world, means Mahavishnu. Appa means Shiva. So there was at one point of time a fight and a clash between Shaivites and Vaishnavites. And Ayyappa or Manikantha emerged and created a consensus. Usually you have seen chandan or sandal being sprayed on people's forehead. You have also seen bhasma or wearing in the forehead. But Ayyappa devotees wear both bhasma and chandan. Bhasma is Shaiva, chandana is Vaishnava. And that red tilak is more of Shakteya or Devis. So what we do is we wear all the three. See, this is how confluence is made. This is how syncretism is made. This is how synergy is made. So please remember, these leftists who will oppose you, 99% will be Hindus itself. Almost 95% will be so-called forward community Hindus who will say everything about you is bad, everything about us is backward, we are old people, rotten people. This wrong attitude we have been injected partially because of Macaulay education, British education, because they wanted to make us feel inferior regarding ourselves. The only way British could have ruled us was by injecting and polluting our education system so that we feel weak, we feel disoriented, we under their propaganda, we feel de-energized. So be patient with them, talk to them, point out our strengths. If they are pointing out genuine faults, engage with them, debate with them, happily disagree with them. One strong arguments against us, especially I'm proud to, many of our Hindu right-wing friends itself say we are not right-wingers, we are only Hindus. I'm always proud to say that I'm a Hindu right-winger and a Hindu right-thinker. I'm a proud dharmic and I always wear that up my sleeve. That's the reason why, even right now, especially the swastik, if it is tattooed, is considered blasphemous, especially for leftist friends, taking into example the German and Jewish example. But wherever I go with this tattoo, I go with this swastik. This is one of our oldest symbols. And when I was in Germany, I went there for a tour. They said this swastik cannot be allowed here because the same thing happened with Germany. Germany also had a great Aryan lineage of civilization, but because of the atrocities of Hitler, now this inferiority complex is inside them. So I told them, see, your guys snatched this swastika and polluted this. That's not our fault. This is our symbol. This is Shubh Labh. This is worn across North India. Even in South India, it is used. This is our symbol. Yes, some people may have misused. What can we do? This is our symbol, and we should uphold every one of our positives in positively. And one very important thing, please remember, let us create an engaging space with the leftists, the so-called seculars. And if they are debating with us, let us be patient. Let us not go for name calling. Let us not start abusing, but rather engage with them. If they are pointing out genuine negatives, accept it. Let us try to reform. And if they are not saying that, factually point out these are our positives. Look at the world around. What William James said about India. What people like Mark Twain said about India. See, they are not Indians. They are not Sanghis. They are not right-wings, as the popular left-wing people call it. So these are great many people who told such glowing tributes about India, and we are shy to uphold our heritage. This is a injected pseudo secular complex inside us that is okay. We will need at least 1 or 2 generations to fight it. We have to uphold it. And if I can just tell a small example and conclude the answer, I think it was Modi ji who went to Japan and gave Bhagavad Gita. And we were on the past 20 years creating yoga, the International Yoga Day. This is beyond politics, I'm saying. I believe even good-hearted people from all the parties, whether it be BJP, Congress, CPM, leftist, or atheist, appreciate it. See, this is we upholding our culture, we upholding our civilization. Right now, there is a World Yoga Day, and crores of people across the world benefit from yoga. And what is yoga? Yoga is from our Adiyogi, our Paramashiva, our Pashupati, the Lord of the Beasts, from the ancient Indus Valley civilization. So please be proud about our civilization, but not be jingoistic. When there is a leftist engaging, please remember he is a dharmic in waiting. A leftist is a dharmic in waiting. Naturally, the injected educational ecosystem's influence will be there, but please be patient. Attract him or her towards the dharmic philosophy, not alienate them with a hard line. Thank you.
Sir, last question.
Yeah.
Why should Hindu temples alone pay taxes to the government? Why should not other income generating places of worship, that is mosques, churches, etc., if all religions people are afforded equal status in the country?
See, the unfortunate thing is we alone have to bear the brunt of secularism. See, that's the unfortunate thing. And now I'll just take 2 or 3 minutes to elaborate this point. This need not be told to the outside people. This is only inside information to our own Hindu Parivar and family, because this is a very sensitive point I'm going to say. See, unless we streamline, mainstream, and come together different thoughts in a single page, we will never be able to break this jinx. You are asking why should Hindus alone be taxed? You will be surprised to know the next fact I'm going to tell you. Dr. S. Radhakrishnan said, Vivekananda saved Hinduism and thereby saved India. To be honest, Vivekananda was a person who literally saved Hinduism. Another Shankaracharya who came, who saved us, who we definitely should worship as an avatar or a deity. I'm just pointing out the importance. But the next point is the crucial one. Do you know Vivekananda's own disciples went to court saying that we are not Hindus? Vivekananda's own Belur Mutt, Vivekananda's own Sri Ramakrishna Ashram in Calcutta went to the Calcutta High Court saying that we are a minority community. We are Ramakrishna religion and we are not Hindus. Thankfully, Honorable Supreme Court stepped in and stopped this. This case is called Brahmajari Siddheshwar Sai versus State of West Bengal. In that, the very famous definition of Hinduism was given by Supreme Court saying Hinduism is a way of life. Now the next question, why the man who saved Hinduism, Vivekananda's own disciples, decided to do this? There lies the crux. There is not a central glue, a central point, a core who can hold the innings together. If I can take the examples of earlier people like Sachin Tendulkar or Virat Kohli or say Rahul Dravid or Rohit Sharma, whichever innings there is a single person or a single system or a group of people who can hold the innings together. That means they will be the root, they will be the core who can hold these things together, and everything will be magnetized and will be united in this. And why did Sri Ramakrishna Mission went there? Sri Ramakrishna Mission said we need minority benefits. We need special status. That's the reason why we are going. Thankfully, Supreme Court stopped that. And P.B. Gajendra Khadgar, one of the earlier Chief Justices, 1965, he said Hinduism is a way of life, and that was quoted. See, we have different shades of saffron, different shades of Hindu dharma inside us. That's a reality. We need a broader framework to unite them. And unless we unite, we won't have a collective bargaining power. Christians have a collective bargaining power. Muslims have a collective bargaining power. We have a very distributed, we have a very divided house, so others have bargaining power over us. There may be various caste communities. Let us not try to eliminate, but let us make them come together. Only a positive approach can help us to solve things, because we are that much divided. Inside Brahmins, there are various communities. Inside Kshatriyas, inside Savarna, inside Avarna, there are various communities. These castes, some people may be saying that we don't need castes at all. We are Hindus. We are Hindus alone and no caste is there. Somebody will say, we have a caste, but we are proud Hindus too. Somebody will say, let us not have caste or religion. Let us only be Indians. Now the leftist will say, let us not have religion or nationality. We are simply humans. So a normal Hindu guy or a girl growing up will be totally confused. What should I opt for? Should I be simply a human? And now, after the leftist, our Advaita people will come. Why have even human? Even the entire living beings, the entire universe is one. We are a part of Advaita. So a Hindu guy or a girl will be torn between community, between faith, between nationalism, between humanism, and between Advaita. These are all there. So to answer to your question, we won't have any collective bargaining power. So temples can be easily overrun, temples can be easily ruled. That's the reason why we may not have perfect agreement, but let us harmonize our disagreements. We may not have perfect agreements, but let us harmonize our disagreements in a way. And I would like to, maybe because it is time, I would like to end by pointing out one such instant in history, one of the greatest collective victories of Hindus in the past 100 years. Almost back into 1931, you will all be knowing that we were celebrating our Independence Day on January 26th. We were not on August 15th. We were celebrating our Independence Day from 1931 on January 26th. Then later, when we got our freedom on August 15th, we still had to give some importance to January 26th. That's the reason why, even though the Constitution was written on November 26th, our forefathers decided, let us celebrate it on January 26th, so that some importance to January 26th will be there. That's how our, in fact, Freedom Day, the India Independence Day became our Republic Day. So 1931 again is a crucial year. Indians came together beyond caste, beyond community to fight for our common causes. There was a great Hindu rejuvenation and Hindu renaissance all over India. Now the British again came back to their play. British gave something called the Communal Award. The British wanted the Savarna community and the Dalit community to fight between each other. British wanted the Brahmins and the Dalits to fight between each other. So Ramsay MacDonald, the British Prime Minister, came up with something called a Communal Award, which said, you Hindus vote in different things. You Brahmins, you Savarnas vote in one, you Dalits vote in a different. This was not because of any Dalit love. This was a clever strategy to divide our Hindu community and to perpetuate further division and partition, because they knew only divide and rule worked. And then Mahatma Gandhi said, I will die, but I will not let Hindus be divided. Gandhiji's one of the finest moments came at that point where Gandhiji said, I will die, but I will not let Hindus be divided. And he went on for a fast in Pune's Yerwada jail. Our various communities had different positions. Some of our backward community people said, yes, we want a separate electorate. Some of them said, maybe we'll go for a consensus. Some hardline from forward community said, nothing doing, we can totally alienate this, no separate electorate at all. But after 6 to 7 days, if my memory is right, it is around 7 to 8 days, Gandhiji's health was falling and he was almost on the verge of death. Even Ambedkar's wife went and requested the great legendary Baba Saheb Ambedkar, one of the greatest sons of Bharat Mata, one of the greatest true revolutionaries. If Ambedkar left us, please remember it is only our mistake. It is not his mistake. If Baba Saheb Ambedkar was fed up with us, it is our mistake. It is our lack of integration and he chose Buddhism only because he wanted to have the flavor of dharmic religion. He wanted to have the flavor of India. He wanted to chant Om Mani Padme Hum. He wanted to have that very core Indian roots because he was a hardcore nationalist. He was at the core more patriotic than I can ever be because he's that much rooted to India. He's that much rooted than any other person. So Ambedkarji but wanted a separate electorate. But at last, everyone was requesting, and only to save Mahatma Gandhi's life, the Brahmin community, the Hindu community leader, Bharat Ratna Madan Mohan Malaviya, and Ambedkarji in Pune's Yerwada jail decided to come together. See, again, I'm telling there are different lines. There will be some people who will be saying, let us not have caste and community at all. Let us unite as Hindus. That's a very good line. Let us have it. But not everyone will be like this, because we will have different community organizations around. You will have Patels, you will have Gujars, you will have Marwadis, you will have Brahmins, you will have Nayars, you will have Harijans, you will have Dalits. Let us not demean them. But just like ice, you might have seen ice, right? The ice blocks, if they are taken together in a plate and kept for some time, they will merge as one. You need not break the different ices, because if you are going that way, the ice, it will hurt for them. Rather, bring them together. Only if we bring them together, we will have a collective bargaining power. And only if we have a collective bargaining power, we can dictate terms to the government, whether it be any government, Kerala government, Uttarakhand government, or any other government who would like to have temples under them. Please remember, I would like to end by saying, Hindu socio-spiritual unity is the primary thing. If we get energized, the social, the political, the cultural, and the other things will fall in its own place. That's the reason why I don't want to comment anything political, but at the same point of time, that's the reason why even right now, those secular people will run to temples whenever there is election. Earlier, those people who were saying that we are only secular, don't go anywhere else, right now they are having temple runs. Good, very nice that they are also coming to temples. Let them also have great blessings of all our gods. Right now, there are people who are saying Shiva is the universe. Great. We always believe Shiva is the universe. Let them come. I don't want to name anyone. Let them come. Let us energize ourselves spiritually first, socially second, so that everything will come on its own. And just one last request to you. Please remember, let us radiate this knowledge across the world. For example, you will be surprised to know, I don't know how many of you know, that there is a currency note for Ganapati in Indonesia. The largest Muslim country in the world has the picture of a Ganesha in their currency note. Their bank is called Bank Ganesha. Their national symbol is called Garuda. They have such things even in the largest Muslim nation in the world. But you might be knowing their flight's name is Garuda Indonesia. Thailand, which is a Buddhist country, Thailand has a Palari Mathanam, or the churning of milk ocean, in their airport. If we are doing that, we will be branded communal. I was suggesting that, with all great respect, I'm a great believer of Gandhi. I'm a Gandhian, but I was telling, why can't we have people like Swami Vivekananda also on our currency notes? Why can't we have Sri Krishna or Sri Ram or great many instances like that? Suddenly, if you tell that, you'll be branded communal. So it's a long project. Let us wait, let us point out, and also the influence of India worldwide. And I would like to end by saying, even Barack Hussein Obama, the president of America, who had a Muslim father and a Christian mother, even he had a Hanuman Swami's chain, a mascot, a lock in his hand. Many of you might have seen. Obama keeps Lord Hanuman as a lucky charm in his own blazer and in his pocket. If some Indian is doing it, we will call him communal. अरे वो communal हो गया, उसके पास हनुमान है. This is the pseudo secular attitude that has been injected to us over the past 150 years. This will take time to change. Obviously, this will take time to change. This is not going to be a overnight change. So definitely it will take time, and we will definitely overcome. And this is the age of Hindu renaissance and rejuvenation. I hope Think India and our forums will inspire that dharma in us and will greatly revive India and place ourselves as the Vishwaguru of the world. Thank you.
This wonderful session talk just reminds me the recent talk by Sadhguru on the eve of Mahashivratri. He too have given a very logical explanation of the same. The British wanted to control Hindu temples as sources of revenue, and sadly, this is the tradition that continues even today. The country which is deemed to be secular does not see the need to get out management of Hindu temples. As we are in the end of session, I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this special meet. I thank Mr. Rahul Iswar sir for his valuable contribution in the field, and thank you sir for spending your time with us today here. I would also like to propose vote of thanks to our senior karyakartas present here. Ray Singh ji, Mrityunjay ji, Shivam ji, Pratik ji, Aditya ji, and Shubham ji. I thank all the volunteers of Think India, those people who believe in all work and dedication. Last but not the least, I would like to thank our excellent audience and participants for the session. Finally, I leave you this inspiring quote. An individual has not started living until he rises above the confines and above the confines of the individualistic concerns to the broader humanity. Once again, I thank you all for making this program a great success. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.